1 minute, 10 seconds and counting. We still are go at this time. Coming up on 1 minute. Mark, T-minus 60 seconds and counting. We are go for Apollo 7 at this time. T-minus 50 seconds. The vehicle now pressurized, and the vehicle is go, as is the spacecraft at this time. T-minus 40 seconds and counting. All aspects of the mission go. T-minus 30 seconds and counting. 21 seconds and counting. We have completed our power transfer. Coming up on the 10-second mark. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We have ignition. Commit liftoff. We have liftoff. This is launch control. We have cleared the tower.
Roger, tower clear. 12 seconds out and the roll program has commenced. 24 seconds out, and Shira reports the pitch program has commenced.
Your current speed, Apollo 7. Thrust is okay. Roger, thrust. Roll, roger, roll.
40 seconds, the roll program is complete. "55 seconds, the cabin is relieving. Shira reported a little noise. 1 minute. Coming up on 2 minutes, mark 2 minutes. We're having a status check. Apollo 7 has been given a go for staging.
Fido, Mark Fido, we're go. Go across the board. CMC looks good, flight.
25, 553. H-dot is minus 4 balls 1.
Flight director asked the flight dynamics officer if he likes it, and he says, yes, sir, it looks good.
Across the board.
We have you go for orbit here. Go for orbit.
As conductor Dick Prophet has advised that the prime crew is now leaving the suit room, and we should expect them downstairs ready to board their transfer van in just a matter of a short time. We are standing by here in the control center for the crew departure at this time. All other aspects of the mission are go. This is launch control. First Frank Borman, also Jim Lovell, and the final man aboard the transfer van, astronaut Bill Anders. They're being joined by 2 suit technicians, and we expect the door in the transfer van to be closed shortly. Astronaut Deke Slayton, Director of Flight Crew Operations, also aboard the transfer van. He'll drop off here at the control center. The transfer van now departing from the manned space. The sequence the astronauts will follow when they arrive at the pad will be as follows. All 3 will board a high-speed elevator, and the elevator, controlled by the capsule communicator, astronaut Vance Brand, here in the firing room, will carry the crew to the 320-foot level above the launcher base at Pad A. Actually, this is another 100 feet above the ground, so the level itself, what is referred to as the 320-foot level, is perhaps some 420 feet above sea level. Once that elevator arrives at the 320-foot level, astronauts Borman and Anders will depart from the elevator and proceed along a catwalk to the White Room. Astronaut Jim Lovell will stand by in the elevator, sitting in a chair. The reason here is, of course, on the crew ingress, Lovell, who is the final man to come aboard, would have a wait of some 5 or 10 minutes in the White Room as his fellow pilots came aboard first, so we keep him in the elevator, seated on a chair with a suit technician. The spacecraft commander, Frank Borman, will be the first to go aboard. He will be followed by the lunar module pilot, the man in the third seat, the seat on the right as we look at the spacecraft, astronaut Bill Anders. The final man aboard, the command module pilot, Jim Lovell. Astronaut Lovell will be called to the White Room once his two fellow pilots are aboard the spacecraft. Still aiming for a planned liftoff time at 7:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is launch control. So the crew is aboard, and the countdown proceeding very satisfactorily at this time. Checkouts between the spacecraft test conductor and the crew are continuing at this time. We're now at T-minus 2 hours, 29 minutes, 47 seconds and counting. This is launch control. This is Apollo Saturn launch control, T-minus 61 minutes and counting. Our countdown still proceeding satisfactorily. The spacecraft test conductor just has been advised that the area at Pad A is now cleared, and we will be pulling back the spacecraft swing arm to its park position about 5 minutes from this time. Tracking checks and telemetry checks still in progress here in the firing room, and all is going well with the Apollo 8 countdown at this time. Still aiming toward our planned liftoff at 7:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on a flight azimuth or direction of 72 degrees. This is launch control. This is Apollo Saturn launch control at T-minus 31 minutes and counting. T-minus 30. Our countdown progressing satisfactorily. Still aiming toward our planned liftoff time of 7:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here in the control center, we've had our status checks, and the range has given a go, as has the launch director, Rocco Petrone. We are still counting, and we are go coming up on the 5-minute mark in the count. Mark, T-minus 5 minutes and counting. 20 seconds, all aspects, we are still go at this time. T-minus 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. We have ignition sequence start. The engines are on. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We have commit. We have liftoff. Liftoff at 7:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have cleared the top.
Tower clear, 13 seconds.
All set program.
Roger.
How do you hear, Houston?
That's clear.
20 seconds out, we get a loud and clear from Frank Borman. 32 seconds. Booster says the S1C, the first stage, looks good.
Mark, mode 1 Bravo, Apollo 8.
Mode 1B.
The crew confirms their progress at 50 seconds into the flight.
Apollo 8, you're looking good.
Roger.
1 minute out, Mike Collins tells the crew we're looking good.
Mark, mode 1 Charlie, Apollo 8.
Mode 1C.
Mile and 6/10 into the mission, and Frank Borman has confirmed each event as it's been passed to him by Mike Collins at this point.
Apollo 8 Houston, you are go for staging, over.
The crew has been given a go for staging. Inboard out on time, Frank Borman says. The inboard engines, 2 minutes, 25 seconds. We see an S1C, the first stage cut off. S2 has ignited, we can confirm. And the thrust looks good. All engines, all sources show the second stage is burning perfectly.
Houston, I read Apollo 8.
We hear you loud and clear, Apollo 8.
Okay, the first stage was very smooth, and this one is smoother. S2 start complete up.
Roger, understand, sir.
And at 3 minutes into the flight, the range safety console has been released at the Cape. 3 minutes into the flight, we're 50 miles high and about 10 miles downrange.
Apollo 8 Houston, your trajectory and guidance are go, over.
Thank you, Michael.
And the crew's advisor, trajectory and guidance are looking good, and Frank Borman came back with a very chatty, thank you, Michael. He's talking to Michael Collins, who would be in the center seat today except for an operation several months ago. 5 minutes, 20 seconds into the flight. And the crew is advised they look good on the ground for staging. And Borman says, same here. We got S2 cutoff. We got S4B ignition. Borman confirmed S4B ignition. The thrust looks good to us at 9 minutes into the flight. We now have 89% of the velocity required. We're 920 miles downrange. And we're 9 minutes, 20 seconds into the flight. And the crew has been given a go for orbit, and they responded enthusiastically that they too, in fact, were go.
One minute and counting. T-minus 55 seconds and counting, all still going well. We're coming up on the power transfer. Mark, 50 seconds and counting. We're now on internal power with the 3 stages and instrument unit of the Saturn V. All propellant tanks in the second stage now pressurized. 35 seconds and counting. The vehicle now completely pressurized. The vents closed. We are go. 30 seconds and counting. T-minus 25 seconds and counting. All aspects still go at this time as the computer monitors. 20 seconds.
Pilots go. GBM. GBM go. Bermuda.
Guidance release 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. We have ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engines running. Commit. Liftoff. We have liftoff at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Cabin is stable at 6.1 pounds per square inch.
Be advised, our FPS helium pressure went to 0 at liftoff.
All right, copy.
Okay.
Jim McDivitt reports the SPS helium pressure on board went to 0 at liftoff. However, we're reporting go here on the mission control center.
And Apollo 9 at 5 minutes. Everybody's happy as a clam here. Looking good.
So are we.
We'll go on internal power with the launch vehicle at the 50-second mark. At 17 seconds, and the count of the guidance system goes internal. This is guidance reference release. We already have the proper flight azimuth in. Now 90 seconds and counting. Now 90 and counting. The astronauts have turned off their ground communication at this time. However, they are on VHF and, of course, the S-band circuits, as well as the special astronaut communication circuit. 1 minute, 12 seconds and counting. The vehicle tanks beginning to pressurize at this time. Our status board indicates that the third stage tanks are now pressurized. We're coming up on the 60-second mark. 60 seconds and counting. We are go for a mission to the moon at this time. The second stage tanks now pressurizing, and we're coming up on the power transfer. 50 seconds and counting. We've now switched to internal power satisfactorily on the batteries of the first stage, all 3 stages of the Saturn V vehicle. 40 seconds and counting. Tom Stafford making a final check of his computer. The vehicle, all stages pressurized at this time. We're waiting for the swing arms to come back. One should be coming back at this time, the second one at 17 seconds. Tom Stafford reports they are go. We're coming up in the 20-second mark. T-minus 20 seconds and counting. 17 seconds and counting. Guidance internal. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. We have ignition sequence start. Engines on. 5, 4, 3, 2. All engines running. Launch commit. Liftoff. We have liftoff. 49
mode, dealing with altitude, function of altitude.
Yeah, we're a little bit in here.
Roger. Plus 55 seconds.
Cabin is relieving.
Copy. Cabin pressure is relieving.
Roger.
Downrange 1 mile, 3.3 nautical miles high.
Water ride.
Gene Saturn reporting water ride.
Roger. Going 3 back to 2.
Roger. Can't get through the back to 2. You're looking good. 1 minute 44 seconds, downrange 7 miles, 12 miles high.
2.5.
Roger, copy, Tom. Stand mark, mode 1 Charlie, you're looking great. You're go for staging, 10. Right. Inboard engines are out. Roger. Good ignition on the second stage.
Man, that staging was quite a sequence.
Right, sounded like it.
And we have guidance initiating.
We confirm that, 10.
Roger.
S2's looking beautiful, Tom. Everything's copacetic.
Roger.
Your go, trajectory and guidance look good.
Roger. We look right on the line on board.
171 miles downrange, 67 miles high at 4 minutes 15 seconds. Still go. Glenn Lenny taking a status check. Everyone says go. 4 minutes 50 seconds, 230 miles downrange, 76 miles high. 10 Houston, at 5 minutes, you're all go. All your systems are looking great.
Roger. 5 minutes, 10 is go.
All right, you're right on the track.
Roger, Charlie.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. T-minus 2 hours, 40 minutes, 40 seconds, and counting. At this time, the prime crew for Apollo 11 has boarded the high-speed elevator from inside the A level in the mobile launcher, which is the second level inside the launcher. This is a high-speed elevator, 600 feet per minute, which will carry them to the 320-foot level, the spacecraft level. Shortly, we'll expect astronauts Neil Armstrong and Michael Collins to come across swing arm 9, the Apollo access arm, and proceed to the White Room and stand by to board the spacecraft. The third member of the crew, astronaut Edwin Aldrin, who will be the last one to board the spacecraft. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control, T-minus 1 hour, 20 minutes, 55 seconds and counting. All still go with the countdown for Apollo 11 at this time. At this point in the countdown, spacecraft commander Neil Armstrong once again appears to be the busiest worker in the spacecraft as he's performing a series of alignment checks associated with the guidance system in the spacecraft. He's working these checks with the spacecraft test conductor as the spacecraft test conductor reads off the various procedures and Armstrong responds to them. The astronauts aboard the spacecraft also were informed by the spacecraft conductor a short while ago that the launch vehicle is go at this time. The hydrogen problem that we did encounter earlier has been solved. That's real good news, said Armstrong, and then he went back to work shortly thereafter. We're now coming up on the 1 hour, 20-minute mark in the countdown. This is Kennedy Launch Control. T-minus 1 minute, 35 seconds on the Apollo mission, the flight to land of the first men on the moon. All indications coming in to the control center at this time indicate we are go. 1 minute, 25 seconds and counting. 30 seconds and counting. Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
Roger, we got a roll program.
Tower clear.
Roger, roll.
4 miles now. Velocity 2,195 feet per second. We're through the region of maximum dynamic pressure now. Set 8 miles downrange, 12 miles high. Velocity 4,000 feet per second.
Stand by for mode 1 Charlie. Mark, mode 1 Charlie.
1 Charlie.
Cliff Charlesworth taking a staging status.
This is Houston, you are go for staging.
Inboard cutoff.
Inboard engines out.
Come inboard cutoff.
Downrange 35 miles, 30 miles high. Standing by for the outboard engine cut down now.
Station. And ignition.
Shut down right on time.
1.4 by 103.6.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control, T-minus 3 hours, 21 minutes, 26 seconds and counting. We're on time as far as our count is concerned for Apollo 12. The prime crew for the mission, astronauts Pete Conrad, Dick Gordon, and Alan Bean, finishing up their suit checks in the suit room at nearby their crew quarters here at the Kennedy Space Center. We expect them to be departing from the crew quarters about 10 minutes from this time to start a trip of about 9 miles that will wind up on the 320-foot level at Complex 39, the location of their Apollo 12 spacecraft. Astronaut Al Warden, the backup command module pilot, is in the Apollo 12 spacecraft at this time, busy with preliminary work and preparations, checking out the various switches in preparation for the arrival of the flight crew. We are go at 3 hours, 20 minutes, 37 seconds and counting. This is launch control. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control at 58 minutes, 56 seconds and counting. We're into the last hour of the Apollo 12 countdown, and with the exception of that weather front that we're keeping a close eye on, all still going well with the countdown. The crew at the 320-foot level is ready to depart from the White Room on call. They've performed all their final checks. In the meantime, here in the firing room, we've completed some of the launch vehicle final telemetry checks, and astronaut Pete Conrad still working with spacecraft test conductor Skip Chauvin on the final guidance and control checks. These are final refinements of the instrumentation used for that stabilization and control system and the guidance and navigation system that is vital during the time of flight that the astronauts are in space and, of course, in lunar orbit. Our testing is going well. We understand that the rain line on this weather front is probably about 8 miles west of us, and we're just going to keep a close eye on it as the countdown proceeds. Our countdown still proceeding. We're still aiming toward 11:22 a.m., keeping a close eye over our shoulder to the northwest for that weather front to see whether it will have any effect on our launch attempt here at the opening of the window. We're now at T-minus 57 minutes, 22 seconds and counting. This is launch control. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We've just passed the 30-minute mark in our countdown. We're now at T-minus 29 minutes, 54 seconds, and counting. The countdown for Apollo 12 still going at this time. Project officials are still keeping a close eye on this weather front that has moved into the area more rapidly than anticipated earlier this morning. The weather front actually speeded up a little later in the morning. A determination has been made to continue this countdown at least down to the 10-minute mark in the count. T-minus 28 minutes, 25 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We've just passed the 9-minute mark in our countdown. T-minus 8 minutes, 54 seconds and counting. Right at this point, astronaut Tom Stafford here in the firing room is talking with Pete Conrad, bringing him up to date on the weather conditions. Pete Conrad has just reported back, sounds good to him. Spacecraft test conductor Skip Chauvin now performing his status checks with the personnel in the spacecraft control room. All report go at this time. The spacecraft ready light should be coming up shortly. We are still go at this time, 7 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. T-minus 60 seconds and counting, T-minus 60. Alan Bean running up the volume on his VHF. 50 seconds and counting. 50. We've now gone internal power with the launch vehicle. We're on the internal batteries in the 3 stages of the Saturn V. T-minus 40 seconds and counting. The spacecraft commander now performing his final function, pressing a button to align the guidance and control system of the spacecraft. Mark, T-minus 30 seconds and counting, T-minus 30. 17 seconds, swing arm back. We have guidance internal. 10, 9, 8, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engines running, commit, liftoff. We have liftoff, 11:22 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Pete Conrad reports that your program is in.
Pete Conrad reporting the roll and pitch, programmed to put Apollo 12 on the proper course. Altitude at 1/2 mile.
Roll's complete.
Roger, Pete.
40 seconds.
Mark 1 Bravo.
Roger, we hope the
Altitude 1.5 miles now. Velocity 1,592 feet per second.
We've got your GDC.
Okay, we just lost the platform, gang. I don't know what happened here. We had everything in the world drop out. Roger.
Fuel cell lights and AC bus light. A fuel cell disconnect. AC bus overload 1 and 2. Main bus A and B out.
Apollo 12 Houston, try SCE to auxiliary, over.
NCE to auxiliary.
SCE to auxiliary.
ECOM reports the readings back.
Mark 1 Charlie.
1 Charlie.
Flight Director Jerry Griffin taking a staging status now. Apollo 12 downrange 17 miles, altitude 20 miles.
Good, gang.
Apollo 12 Houston, try to reset your fuel cells now.
Inboard engine out on schedule. Altitude 33 miles, downrange 45 miles.
Got a good S2, gang.
Roger, we copy, Pete. You're looking good.
Good staging and good thrust on the second stage.
Right now, there are problems here. I don't know what happened. I'm not sure we can get hit by lightning.
Your thrust is looking good, Pete.
Okay, I have a good GDC, and Al has got the fuel cells back on, and we'll be working on our AC buses.
Right, Pete. Your fuel cells look good down here.
I think we need to do a little more all-weather testing.
Amen.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control, T-minus 1 hour, 9 minutes, 59 seconds, and counting. At this time in the command module, Odyssey, the 3 crewmen, spacecraft commander Jim Lovell, command module pilot Jack Swigert, and lunar module pilot Fred Hayes are very busy. The spacecraft commander and command module pilot are configuring the stabilization and control system for liftoff and aligning that system with the guidance platform aboard the spacecraft. Also going on at this time is a check of the large propulsion system engine below the service module. This engine can be gimbaled in response to commands. This is done in 2 ways, and these systems are being checked out at this time. There is a thumb wheel control which can set the engine to a preset position for certain maneuvers, and also a rotational hand controller which can be used for the actual flight of a maneuver. These checks are being made now, the engine being gimbaled, with spacecraft commander Jim Lovell indicating the position that he is putting these to, and readouts are being made to ensure that the engine is gimbaling in proper response. Also at this time, a final checkout by the crew of the entry monitoring system. Also a final setting of this system. Our countdown proceeding well at this time, T-minus 1 hour, 8 minutes, 40 seconds. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We're just passing the 1 hour mark in our countdown. Now in the final hour of the countdown toward the launch of Apollo 13. The closeout crew has now left the White Room area and will be standing by for the retraction to the 12-degree position of swing arm number 9. Now at T-minus 57 minutes, 15 seconds and counting, this is Kennedy Launch Control. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control as we move into the final half hour of our countdown. T-minus 29 minutes, 56 seconds, and counting. The Brevard Sheriff's Department, Brevard County, Florida, has reported that along Route 1, the closest major highway to Kennedy Space Center, there are some 100,000 people and 25,000 cars parked watching for the launch of Apollo 13. Along the Indian and Banana Rivers, it's reported that both rivers are literally filled with boats and spectators standing by to watch the launch. Our countdown continuing now. The power transfer test underway. T-minus 29 minutes, 13 seconds, and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. T-minus 9 minutes, 58 seconds, and counting. The third stage start tanks are now beginning their chill down. The third stage scheduled to ignite at 9 minutes, 22 seconds into the mission. Also going on at this time is one of the computer checks which are carried out throughout the final portion of the launch. This particular one is a checkout of the launch vehicle digital computer to ensure that it's ready for launch. A final check of the weather indicates that earlier worries about the weather have come to naught. Weather looks good and is satisfactory, presents no constraint to our launch. Now T-minus 9 minutes, 25 seconds, and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. We're now approaching the T-minus 1 minute mark. T-minus 1 minute, T-minus 1 minute, and counting. Now in the final minute of our countdown. At the 30-second mark, swing arm number 1 will retract. T-minus 50 seconds. As we pass the T-minus 50-second mark, the power transfer takes place. First stage, second stage, third stage, and the instrument unit going to internal power. T-minus 37 seconds, and our count continues to go well. We'll be looking for an ignition of those 5 first stage engines at the T-minus 8.9 second mark. We've passed T-minus 30, T-minus 25 seconds, and counting, and Apollo 13 is go. T-minus 20 seconds, T-minus 20 seconds, and counting. 17, guidance release, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Ignition sequence has started. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We have commit and we have liftoff at 2:13. The Saturn V building up to 7.6 million pounds of thrust.
The clock is running. P11, Jim. Yaw program.
Then it has cleared the tower.
Clear the tower. Yaw complete. Roll program. Houston, roger, roll. 13 Houston, go at 30 seconds. Roll complete and we're pitching. Roger that. Stand by for mode 1 Bravo. Mark 1 Bravo. 1 Bravo. Command. 13 Houston, go at 1. We show the cabin relieving. 13 roger. 13 Houston, stand by for mode 1 Charlie. Mark, you're 1 Charlie. Mark 1 Charlie. And 13, you're go for staging. Go for staging. S2 ignition. Roger. 13 Houston, trajectory's good, thrust is good. Roger. Start. Tower jet. We confirm skirt step, roger. Tower jet, mode 2, Jim, looking good. Mode 2. Guidance initiate. 13 Houston, coming up 5 minutes, you're looking perfect, over. 13, roger. Stand by for S4B to orbit. Mark, you have S4B to orbit, Jim. Roger, we have S4B to orbit. 13 Houston, you are go for staging. 13, roger, go for staging. Staging. Roger, staging. And S4 ignition, Houston. Roger that, Jim, thrust looks good. Roger. Apollo 13, Houston, your go at 11.5 and predicted cutoff time is 12 plus 3-4, over. Understand, 12 plus 3-4 predicted cutoff time. Apollo 13, Houston, you have a go orbit all sources and the booster is safe, over. Go orbit and the booster is safe, thank you, Joe. Don't mention it.
This is Kennedy Launch Control, T-minus 30 minutes and counting. T-minus 30, all elements of the Apollo 14 countdown still go at this time. At this point in the count, the Apollo 14 lunar module, named Antares, is now going on internal power. There are 2 batteries in the ascent stage and 4 batteries on the descent stage of the lunar module for Apollo 14. The lunar module will remain internal for some 20 minutes until the 10-minute mark in the count as we take a final look at the lunar module systems before we're ready to commit to fly. The LEM then again will be powered down at the 10-minute mark in the countdown. Still well ahead on a number of functions, the astronauts standing by in the spacecraft, all still going well. T-minus 29 minutes, 10 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This is Kennedy Launch Control. Mark, we have resumed our countdown. T-minus 8 minutes and counting on Apollo 14. We're still keeping a close eye on our weather conditions at this time, but Launch Director Walter Caprian has made the determination to resume the count. This should put us with a liftoff at 3 minutes past the hour if all continues to go well. All is still going well as far as launch vehicles, spacecraft, and the 3 astronauts on board. Coming up in the 7-minute mark. Mark, 7 minutes and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. 40 seconds and counting. Alan Shepard reports that he's performing his final guidance alignment, the final maneuver the astronauts perform before liftoff. 30 seconds and counting. Stu Russo just said, thanks, it's been a good count. 25 seconds and counting. We are still go.
There you go.
20 seconds, guidance alert, the guidance system now going internal. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Launch commit. Liftoff. We have liftoff. Apollo 14. 3 minutes past the hour. The tower is clear.
Roger, you have good thrust on all 5 engines. Okay, Houston, roll complete. Roger, roll complete.
Shepard reports roll program completed. Pitch profile still in progress. 37 seconds.
Stand by for mode 1 Bravo. Mark, 1 Bravo now. Okay, we're 1 Bravo.
Capcom Gordon Fullerton making that report. Mark, 1 minute. Cabin pressure coming down, adjusting from sea level to a space environment. Status check in mission control, coming up all greens on the flight director's console.
In Houston, everything looks good here on the ground. Mode 1 Charlie. Mark, 1 Charlie now. We're 1 Charlie, EDS auto's off.
Coming up on center engine shutdown. 2 minutes 12 seconds, 20 nautical miles in altitude.
Inboard cutoff. Roger, inboard.
Center engine shut down on time. 2 minutes 25 seconds, 25 nautical miles in altitude, 30 nautical miles downrange. Minutes 35 seconds, coming up on staging.
Roger. And separation? Roger. On 5. Roger.
The Shepard crew now riding on 5 good second stage engines.
On 5 engines. Good thrust on all 5. Apollo 14, Houston, the booster is safe and your orbit is go. Roger. Good show. Go orbit, booster safe.
T-minus 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, guidance release, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. We have ignition sequence start. The engine's now building up to 7.7 million pounds of thrust.
We have a launch commit and we have a liftoff. The swing arms moving back. The Saturn V lifting off the alpha pad, building up thrust. We've cleared the tower.
Houston is now controlling.
Roll, you have good thrust in all 5.
Roger.
Pitch and roll program started.
Roger.
16 now maneuvering to its proper flight path attitude. Mark 27 seconds. "36 seconds, roll program completed, pitch profile still in progress, 40 seconds. Mark 50 seconds, cabin pressure relieving, adjusting now from sea level to a space environment, 2 nautical miles in altitude.
Stand by for mode 1 Bravo.
Roger,
Mark 1 Bravo. Your feet wet now, 16.
Roger.
That call up from Capcom Gordon Fullerton says Apollo 16 now capable of water landing. Mark 1 minute 12 seconds, coming up on period of maximum aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle. One minute 22 seconds, 6 nautical miles in altitude, looking good. Mark 1 minute 30 seconds, 8 nautical miles in altitude. Mark 1 minute 41 seconds. Pass through max Q, still looking good.
Through max Q and everything looks good.
16 now, 12.5 nautical miles in altitude. Young Duke Mattingly moving out to the outer traces of the Earth's atmosphere.
Stand by for mode 1 Charlie.
Roger, we're
Mark 1 Charlie.
Mark 2 minutes 3 seconds, a status check and mission control by Flight Director Gene Krantz, a go-no-go for staging. Coming up on center engine shutdown.
Put your inboard, your go for staging.
Center engine shutdown on time. 2 minutes 28 seconds, 26 nautical miles in altitude, 32 nautical miles downrange. 2 minutes 35 seconds. 2 minutes 40 seconds, coming up on staging.
Staging. Okay, ignition on the S2.
Roger.
2 minutes 53 seconds, a normal staging. Young Duke Mattingly now riding on 5 good second stage engines.
Go on all 5 on the S2.
First stage propellant tanks have been pressurized. Now past the 1 minute mark, and we are going on internal power. Now all systems to internal power. We'll be looking for the engine start sequence at the 8.9 second mark in the countdown. The engines will build up to a thrust of 7.6 million pounds. T-minus 30 seconds. We have a cutoff. We have a cutoff at T-minus 30 seconds. We're standing by at T-minus 30 second mark. We'll bring word to you just as soon as we get it. We have a cutoff at T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're holding at the 30-second mark. This was an automatic cutoff, cut off by the terminal sequencer. As mentioned, this sequencer initiates various actions. Each action must take place and must be completed before the next one can be initiated. If anything does not get completed in time, there will be an automatic cutoff. This cutoff was automatic, done by the sequencer. We're standing by now to check just what the problem was. Now T-minus 30 seconds and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're continuing our hold at the T-minus 30-second mark as the launch team assesses our problem. At this time, swing arm number 9 is going back to the 12-degree park position. This is in a position about 15 to 20 feet from the spacecraft. All safing procedures have proceeded normally. We're continuing our hold while we assess the problem at T-minus 30 seconds. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, the swing arm number 9 is now back to that retract position at the 12-degree position. Point out that the window we have tonight extends to 1:31 a.m. So we have some time here to assess the problem and then recycle and continue our countdown. We're continuing to hold at the 30-second mark at this time. T-minus 30 seconds and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're continuing our hold at the 30-second mark. We'll recycle to the T-minus 22-minute mark. The T-minus 22-minute mark is chosen as the recycling point because this is a point where we start the chill down, as was mentioned during that point in the countdown. We start the chill down of the second and third stages to prepare them for the influx of the liquid hydrogen, the cold liquid hydrogen, and the cold liquid oxygen. Continuing to look at the data here to see exactly what happened. There is no indication of ignition. Ignition was scheduled to come at the 8.9 second. We're continuing to evaluate all the data at this time as we hold at the T-minus 30-second mark. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're continuing to stand by at the T-minus 22-minute mark. We've been given the word here in the firing room now that the count will be resumed at 11 p.m. at T-minus 22 minutes. At this time, there has still not been a resolution to the problem. To reiterate what the problem was, the terminal countdown sequencer failed to give the command to pressurize the third stage liquid oxygen tanks. There are several possible workarounds to this. They're being looked into at this time, and we plan to resume our countdown at the T-minus 22-minute mark at 11 p.m. Now holding at T-minus 22 minutes, this is Kennedy Launch Control. This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're at T-minus 21 minutes, 10 seconds and counting. The countdown picked up. The launch team here made a quick check of the various elements, all reporting into the test supervisor, Bill Schick, indicating that they were ready to resume the count. Now T-minus 20 minutes, 42 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're now holding at the 8-minute mark as planned. The crew feels that they have a workaround to the problem, working around the indication going to the terminal sequencer that the tank has not been pressurized when actually it had been done manually. Now T-minus 8 minutes and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're continuing to hold at the T-minus 8-minute mark. Meantime, the crew is getting a variety of updates in the spacecraft, updating them on various aspects and the changes to their mission due to this hold period. Also at the Manned Spacecraft Center, they're continuing to update the flight azimuth as they get new times for the launch. Now, continuing our hold at the T-minus 8-minute mark, this is Kennedy Test Control. This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're continuing in our hold period at this time. Test Supervisor Bill Schick just announced here in the firing room that the hold is expected to last approximately 20 more minutes. Countdown continuing in the hold, T-minus 8 minutes and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're now resuming the count. T-minus 7 minutes, 54 seconds and counting. The flight director just ran through his team, a status report from his team at the Mission Control Center. That team all reported they are in a go condition. Now T-minus 7 minutes, 20 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. All propellants now aboard the second stage pressurized as we approach the 1-minute mark in the countdown. Mark T-minus 1 minute and counting, now in the final minute of the countdown. And Gene Cernan made that final guidance alignment. That's the last action taken by the crew aboard the space vehicle. 10, 9, 8, 7, ignition sequence started. All engines are started. We have ignition, 2, 1, 0. We have a liftoff. We have a liftoff, and it's lighting up the area. It's just like daylight here at Kennedy Space Center as the Saturn V is moving off the pad. It has now cleared the tower.
Complete. We're in a roll, Bob.
Roger, Gino, looking great. Thrust good on all 5 engines.
Okay, babe, it's looking good here. Roll is complete. We are pitching.
Mission Control, Gene Cernan reporting the launch vehicle maneuvering to the proper attitude. Everything looking good at this point.
17 is go.
Roger, 17, you're go.
First stage looks good. Altitude 1.1 miles. Booster says we look good. We're now at 2.5 miles.
Mark, mode 1 Bravo.
Roger, 1 Bravo. We're go at 1 minute.
Roger, Gene, you're looking great. Right on the line.
Everybody says looking great, right on the line. We're now 1 mile downrange. Launch vehicle 4.2 miles high.
Stand by for mode 1, Charlie 17. Mark, mode 1, Charlie.
And the flight dynamics officer says we look good on all sources, right on the trajectory. Flight director Gene Kranz taking a status for staging. We say we look good for staging.
Roger, we'll go here. Inboard cutoff.
Roger, inboard.
Inboard engine shutting down on time as planned. Coming up on first stage shutdown. And we've had shutdown on time on the first stage.
5.
Roger, they're looking here, looking good.
Sure felt like it. I think we saw them all from here.
Roger, Jack, and the thrust is going, all 5 of them. They're running good.
Okay, 3 minutes in, we're go.
Roger, 17.
Okay, we do have skirt set.
Roger, we confirm skirt set.
There goes the tower. Ah, there she goes.
Roger the tower, you're mode 2.
Roger, mode 2.
The steering has converged and CMC is go. You're going right down the pike, 17.
Let me tell you, this night launch is something to behold. We've seen it all, ignition, staging, and tower.
Roger, got you.
Okay, 4 minutes and we're go here, Bob.
Roger, Gene, we're going around the room. Look, go here. You're looking real good, Gene. Right down the line.
Okay, 4:30 and we're still go on board.
Roger, 17, you're go.